Hi, welcome to SBR Sports Picks. I'm Peter Loshak. It's Friday before Week 3 in college football, and this is the Into the Weekend with BetDSI show that we do every week. For a long time, we've been doing this show where we talk to Brent, the headlines manager at DSI Sportsbook, and he shares with us all the information that he's seen in terms of the betting action over the week, the sharp action, the public action, and everything. Brent, college football Week 3, you ready to go?
Yeah, it's like I'm back in school and this is like show and tell or something like
right,
that, hey?
Yeah. Exactly. All right. So Week 3, the first game I want to ask you about, Ohio State, Oklahoma. Strong opinions on both sides on this one. A huge marquee game. My guess is that there's a ton of volume on it, all of it public, and that the Sharps haven't weighted notably as yet at all.
I want to talk about strong opinions. What about yours last weekend? What happened to those? I remember there was a couple where you were taking the rubber band off your bankroll and firing.
That's true. I didn't do so well last week, absolutely, in college and in the plays that I said that I bet in this show. You know who else didn't do that well? The Sharps. I noticed the Sharps were only 7-7 in the plays that you said they were big on last week in college football. So is that normal for them?
No, it happens. I mean, it happens now and then. And there's stuff, too, you have to remember where the stuff we talk about in the show, and then sometimes game time, it goes the other way.
Right.
I think we talked about the total on Washington State, Boise State, for example. I think I talked about that one as they were going over 70 and over 73, I think it was, and that was a game where on game day, Sharps just started pounding the under on that game.
Wow.
So it's guys who didn't play during the week and guys who normally wait till game day. I mean, obviously there's a line that they want to jump on, they're going to jump on it.
Right.
But this is a situation where guys just looked at the number like, wow, and they hit it. And every time it went back to like 73.5 and 74, they bet the under. I had public money going back on the over.
Wow.
Boom, I'd move the line, they'd hammer it again. So that was, there's situations like that where yeah, I mean, according to what we do on the show, the plays went whatever they went, but on game day, they do kind of, stuff like that. You kind of have to, if you can sit back and watch every single college game and all the line movement would be great. I know that's not reasonable to expect.
Right.
But a situation like that, when you see a total bouncing back and forth like that, the only money that's coming on the under is sharp money. I mean, no public guys, firing max wagers on the under.
Right. Well, actually, in the show, you told us that the Sharps came in on Arkansas at +7, and I told you that I had them at 7.5. But then on game day, I saw that it was up to like 9.5 or 10, and I started to think to myself, is that public action or was that big sharp action that came in on game day on TCU?
Yeah, see, that's been another situation where I ended up having Sharps on both sides of the game.
Uh-huh.
So sometimes you'll see a number and they'll just beat it back and forth, and one guy might fire more times than another guy, so you're kind of moving every time he bets and waiting to see if the other guy comes back the other way or the other group comes back the other way. If they don't, you still move the number.
Right. So that TCU game specifically was the cause. The big move was caused by sharp action on TCU.
Yeah, well, I had sharp guys both ways on that game. Another game I think we talked about, just going through last week was it Ohio State? I think was another game where the line, just kept on getting bet up. And I think Tulsa early in the week was like +29, and Sharps, pseudo Sharps did grab that number. And then on game day, they laid the 27.5 and 28 with Ohio State,
Wow.
Different guys. So yeah, it's tough, but if you can, if people can kind of follow the lines that we're talking about, now, and then look on game day, what happens with them. Again, a situation where you're talking about a big total like that Boise State game, you just, it's just, you can pretty much assume that no public guy has, is firing max wagers on the under.
Right.
It's got to be a sharp guy.
Right. Awesome info, Brent. All right. So I guess even though we taped this at about 5:30 Eastern time on Friday, there's a ton of action that comes in between our taping and kickoff less than 24 hours away. So Ohio State and Oklahoma, what do you think? You think that is there any sharp action as yet on this game?
Yeah, I mean, handle-wise, this is a great game for us. And this is, I think you already know the story here. You know that I'm going to say that this is a sharp and public split on this game. My wager count on just straight bets is 3-1 in favor of visiting the visitor, Ohio State. Mm-hmm. If I take parlays and teasers and all that kind of stuff, it gets up to like 4-1. So it's heavy public action on Ohio State and sharp action on Oklahoma, of course. Now, the earliest sharp hit was +3 -115. So why are sharps? Well, they're grabbing +3 on a game that's a pick now, but definite sharp public split on this case with the public betting Ohio State and the Sharps liking Oklahoma. Again, the hit on Oklahoma, the first big sharp that came in, grabbed it at +3 -115. So yeah, I mean the numbers obviously very important, but I still had what I'll call pseudo sharp action that came in on the +1.5 as well.
All right, so is this the kind of game where you might get, sharp action game day on Ohio State?
If our number starts creeping up on Ohio State, you can assume that it's sharp action. Yeah, I mean, whether it's going to come or not, I don't know. All I know is the sharps and pseudo sharps that have played. So that I've got actually a couple of guys invested in this game already, and they're both on Oklahoma.
Right. Okay. Interesting info, Brent. And now I have to ask about USC Stanford. Now, when this line opened I believe it was Sunday night. It was USC plus 6.5. I was all over it. Jumped all over USC plus 6.5. Come to find out a few days later, it's all the way up to 9 and 9.5. I'm looking at a line move like that. I mean, that could be, I'm assuming that might be one-way action where there's big public action on Stanford and also sharp action on Stanford, but there had to have been at least some sharp action on Stanford that drove that line up initially, right?
You said there had to be.
I mean, unless it was all public action.
You're going to feel pretty silly if I say no, huh, Peter?
No, I was baffled by the line movement. I mean, that's a huge move for a game like that so early in the week, from 6.5 to 9.5, you know?
Yeah, we're sitting at 9 right now, and honestly, if I look at my wager count, it's almost dead even. I do have slightly more wagers on Stanford. If I look at the actual dollar volume wagered on the game, it's almost dead even as well. So I've got almost the exact same number of wagers and the exact same amount of dollar volume wagered on this game. Now, I mean, I did take, what I'll call a bigger bet on Stanford at minus 7.5, and kind of, when you move from 7.5 to 8 to 8.5 is like, you're not afraid to go to 9, put it that way, and that's kind of what happened with this game.
So what caused the initial move then? Was it just maybe big sharp action other places, and then the market moved, so you guys moved your line?
Yeah, that happens sometimes. Yeah, I mean, you don't see the bet come in here, and again, it's a situation where you take that initial hit minus 7.5 and you move to 8, and you're kind of balanced on the game, which we are in this case. You've got equal number of wagers on both teams, which we are in this case. But the market's going from we were sitting at 8, and the market's going to 8.5 and 9. And if you're balanced, you kind of go with them. If we were loaded heavy on USC and we're fishing for a Stanford bet, we might sit at 8. But this is a case where we're perfectly balanced, and the market moved and we moved with it.
All right. So as of right now, no sharp action on USC Stanford, according to Brent, right? That you've seen.
Not as of yet, no.
Okay, and the next thing I want to ask you about is Florida State Louisville. This is a game that has me scratching my head a little bit because there's a ton of hype with Louisville, right? And a lot of times when the public comes in on a home dog, when there's a public-backed home dog, and the Sharps are on the road favorite, that's like the best kind of sharp public split that there is, and I love to back the side to just tail whatever the Sharps are on in that case. And I'm thinking that because of all the hype with Louisville, the way they played the first two games, there might be a lot of public action on Louisville. Is that the case?
No, actually, I've got almost 3 times as many wagers on Florida State.
Okay, there you go.
And my money's almost balanced on the game as well. So if I've got three times as much wagers on Florida State, but my money is dead even, that the Sharps did come in on Louisville. That is the case here. Now, again, it's these guys. They're sharp for a reason. They were grabbing the +3. I had another guy come in at +1.5 as well. So I've got a couple guys invested on Louisville. It's funny. I mean, we saw that Louisville game, their last game on. I guess it was Thursday. Whenever that was it last week? Yeah, was it Thursday when they played Syracuse, and it was just like, they put up like 35 points in the first half. And they looked terrible. They looked absolutely terrible. You're like, wow. I mean, no, really, their offense was just like, they should have had 50 at halftime. It was just a case where, wow. I mean, they probably went to the locker room and just got their ass reamed for their performance, even though they were winning by a ton. They're up by a couple of touchdowns, but they look like a real strong team. And the money that I did take on Louisville at home as a small dog was sharp money. So we're sitting Florida State right now -1, -105. So Louisville +1 is -115. The flip side of that is on the money line, we're using Florida State -115 based on the pick'em. So it's a case, like I said, almost 3 times as many more wagers on Florida State, but my dollar volume is almost dead even. Sharp money on Louisville.
All right, sharp public split on Florida State, Louisville. I guess that's what I would have thought at first glance, but then I was thinking, there's so much, Louisville's been so explosive, putting up these big numbers on their game histories that maybe that would attract public action. But as of right now, the public is on Florida State. All right, Brent, what else can you tell us about notable sharp and/or public action from college football week 3?
Yeah, I'm just gonna ramble through this stuff because
Yes.
I just got so much. I just got so much going on right now, and so many games that Sharps are involved in.
Really?
Top game for Saturday on the rotation is Eastern Michigan at Charlotte. Sharp money came in on Charlotte +3. We're sitting at 2.5 right now. Next game on the board is Western Michigan at Illinois. Western Michigan money was Sharp -3. That lines up to 3.5 right now. We touched on Louisville, of course. Dropped down to Middle Tennessee. They're at Bowling Green. Middle Tennessee is now a 6.5-point favorite. I took sharp action early in the week on them -4.5. So sharp action on Middle Tennessee State there. Florida Atlantic and Kansas State. Never a good situation for us when you got the Sharps on a big favorite, and they are on Kansas State now. They laid the 21 with Kansas State at home to Florida Atlantic, and of course, the public doesn't shy away from laying big numbers, and they did that with Kansas State. So I've got a wager count of almost like 4-1 in favor of Kansas State. A lot of public on Kansas State and sharps on Kansas State as well. So not a good situation for us. We're sitting at 25.5. We kind of got a couple nibbles back on Florida Atlantic at that point, but nothing to say, wow, great, we're in a good spot now. Want to touch on one total before I get down. The next sheet was UNLV and Central Michigan. The under in that game, under 58, was sharp. We're down to 55.5 right now. Another total will be Kentucky. Kentucky playing New Mexico State. That one, they went with the over 64.5. We're up to 67 right now. Marshall, 17.5-point favorite at Akron. Sharp money came in early on the week. Marshall -15. I'm going to touch on Troy. Skip past that one. Was going to touch on the Troy total. I got kind of pseudo sharp action on the under 66.5, but we haven't moved too much, so we'll call it what it is. But under 66.5 on the Troy Southern Miss game. Ohio State, Oklahoma. We touched on that one in terms of being a public sharp split with the Sharps on Oklahoma. They came in earlier +3. And LSU at home to Mississippi State. That line actually crept up all the way to 14. We're back down to 13.5, but that early line movement was sharp action on LSU -12. And I just want to say about the volume this week is before we go get to NFL. I mean, it's just fantastic. I mean, games like Texas, California, massive action. USC, Stanford, huge action. Alabama, Mississippi, even Georgia games getting good action. Michigan State, Notre Dame, insane. This is one of those weekends where we're going to have just so much volume. It's going to be it's going to be crazy. I mean, I've got Miami, Florida at Appalachian State, and we're pretty much balanced on that game with like just a ton of bets on both sides of the game. It's really crazy how it's worked out this week. But I mean, Oregon, Nebraska, I could go on and on. Just a fantastic card this weekend, Peter.
Yeah, there's a lot of games that are appealing to me as far as just a lot of meat as far as handicapping is concerned. I'll tell you what, though, that LSU Mississippi State game, that strikes me as the kind of game where you might take, big sharp action day of game. And if we see that line drop to like +11.5 or something like that, that's pretty much an indication that there was significant sharp action on the dog, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the early sharp action that did come in was on LSU -12, and it took us to go to like 14 before we kind of got some nibbles back the other way on Mississippi State. So if we have to drop back down to like 12 and 11.5 or go lower than earlier sharps came in, you figure it is, you can kind of figure that some sharps came back in the other side.
Right. I suspect that we will see that, but we will see where that line moves and where it closes. Thanks so much, Brent, from BetDSI.
Go to SBRodds.com. Browse, compare, and shop live odds available at top online sportsbooks.